Hey everyone, on today's episode of Level Up Conversation, today's topic is what do you bring to the table? I don't understand that.
That question.
No man has ever asked me that question.
Me neither. Me neither.
Neither have I
Never
have
in
not
my
heard that.
life have I ever heard
Mm-mm.
that question. And honestly, not just no man has ever asked me. No one, none of my friends, female friends, have ever said that they've been asked. And none of the guy friends or anybody that I've been around, you know, just
Or
never heard it.
maybe, I'm thinking maybe they mean like indirectly men ask, but again, not even indirectly men have asked me
Yeah.
what
Hmm.
Yeah.
what are you contributing? I've never had that question.
All right.
Such a strange question.
It's a very, very strange question. Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go first.
Okay, so what I find that what they mean is again, what can you contribute? What can you contribute? And I'm contributing me. That should be enough. Like my gosh, what else do you want? Like I'm supposed to like do a song and dance, you swing from chandeliers. No, but I don't know. But I just bring me um my my sense of humor, the fact that I won't stress you with anything. I'm not going to bring any drama, and then even that has like you have to like define what drama is.
Hmm.
But I would just bring everyday life, and everyday
Hmm.
life come with drama. Well, my car is not going to break down because I got a better car now, but the car may have a flat tire, or it may need an oil change, or I don't know, because I'm not going to bring you stress. I mean, I'm going to make sure that when you come home you're going to be fed, the house will be cleaned. I'm not your maid, but um because I will do things for myself as well. So those
Hmm.
things are not necessarily for him. Those things are for me as well, because I don't want to live in a pigsty.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um so that's what I bring to the table.
I always think in terms of dating like, I've never had that question either, but I always felt like me showing up to the date and being nice is more than enough. Like, I make sure I'm presentable and all that good stuff. But other than that, I'm the woman. I don't feel that there's anything that I need to be doing extra apart from just being civil and being companionable and having a good
Mhm.
conversation. Um, and so I think when I hear that question, it strikes me as it being more of a state of mind, like a mentality that certain types of people have, where they have expectations where they're trying to either compare you to somebody else or trying to see what they can get out of you.
Hmm.
Because I don't see the purpose of that question, to be honest.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will agree with you. It very much is a strange question. Like I said, I've never been asked that question before, but I was thinking about it a little bit, and I was trying to figure out like where did this question come from, right? And then I started thinking, like back in the day, because I kind of like to look at things like you kind of look at where you came from, so you can kind of figure out how you got here, so you could try to figure out where you're trying to go, hopefully successfully,
Mhm.
right? And I was
Mhm.
thinking, I don't think, or I've not heard that this was a question that used to be brought up like back in the day in traditional relationships. And then I asked
Mhm.
myself why, right? And I answered my own question. And I was like, I think the reason why is because back in the day, gender roles were defined already, right?
Mhm.
Because it feels to me like this question comes from a place of things are not defined, therefore it's kind of like it's a free for all. So I'm trying to understand why you and not the next person or whatever. I'm not saying that's correct. I'm saying that's where I think the question comes from. Now,
Mhm.
back in the day, gender roles were defined. All men knew that their role was to go out and work and bring home the bacon, and the wife will fry it, right? He worked, she stayed home, she was a homemaker, and she took care of the kids. I don't want to say 100%, but majority of the households were like that, right? So because of that, there was never a question of what do you bring to the table, because people knew what they were supposed to be, what role they were supposed to play in relationships. Now, in modern relationships, with everything changing, now it's become like, you know, the things that men were doing, women are doing, the things that women were doing, men are doing. And by that, I mean sometimes the woman's going to work and the man's staying home and taking care of the children. The roles have, there's no roles now. Everything is kind of like up in the air. It's whatever works for a couple, blah, 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 blah. So now, because that dynamic has changed, I think that's where now most of the times you hear the question, what do you bring to the table? That being said, I agree with you, Vanessa. While you were making your point, something came to my mind. I think that question only applies when you don't really get to know a person enough before you start talking about if you like them or if you want to be with them. Because if you meet a person and you get to know them, which should be the natural course of progression of a relationship, by the time you get to the point where you are now defining a relationship and saying, okay, we've gone from dating, we're making it official, now we're going to be like, you're with me, I'm with you, we're not seeing other people. Is this even a question that comes up? Have you not known this person for XYZ amount of days or months or whatever in order for you to answer that question in your own head? Because why would you ask somebody to be with you if you do not know what they bring to the table?
Exactly.
You know, I guess that's the same thing as saying, what are your intentions? But again, no one asked that question either. I mean, indirectly, they, you know, someone may say, or I will say, are you looking for, you know, a relationship? Are you looking for something committed? And depending on their response, I will rock with you or I won't. I mean, depending, you know, what I'm into at that time. So
Okay. So it's more of a question that you okay, see, so you're saying somebody meets somebody and they're not even trying to put in the work to get to know you. They're asking you to tell them what you bring to the table so they could decide if they even want to get to know you.
well, I mean, that's the way I do certain things. I date with intention. I mean,
Right.
sometimes my intention was not to have a relationship. My intention was just to, you know, have a
Have
friend.
relations.
Yeah, just have relations. Um, because and I will be honest. Okay, never mind. I'll take that back. 'Cause depending on the people intentions are different. So sometimes they're not looking for a relationship, or sometimes they may find, you know, that I wasn't relationship material.
Okay.
Maybe it
Okay.
wasn't me. I'm just saying, you know, maybe I didn't find the guy to be relationship material. There, see, I said it. And so, you know, yeah, he was good enough to just hang around, but not good enough to have a relationship with. And depending on who sees this, you know who you are. You know which side you're on. Come on, you know me.
Right.
Remember, everything you see on TV is not real. And you know, but
Okay.
I don't know. No one's ever asked me that question.
I mean, me neither.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it really comes from a place of one's mentality. I think that might be a question that somebody's actually trying to feel you out and see what you're about. So that might be an early relationship question. It could be someone that's just simply trying to get over on you. Um, I think if it's a question that comes up, it may be something that comes up when you are, mm, I don't even know if I could put an age limit on it because, you know, maybe it's a conversation you might have in your 30s or something. Because I can't imagine like somebody in their 20s saying, "What do you bring to the table?" Like you're still trying to find yourself. So it's like, I don't know. What are you bringing? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
What table?
What does it mean? But you know what? These millennials, that's a question that's coming up a lot with these young people, which honestly I feel is because everything is so rushed. Everything
Mhm.
is so like instant gratification now. Like tell me what I need to know, give me what I need, get out of my way. I don't have time for this. Because honestly,
Mm-hmm.
is it really necessary to ask, what do you bring to the table? Or is it better maybe to take the time to get to know somebody? I'm not saying take 5-10 years to know a person. I'm saying, even if you said, what do you bring to the table? A person could lie.
Mhm.
Wouldn't it be in your best interest to just watch, because actions
Yeah.
speak louder, and
Mhm.
take the time to get to know a person, and then you will know. And I think maybe that's where, when I made my initial, to be honest with you, I'm realizing when I made my initial statement, I hadn't even considered that this is like a beginning stage type of question. Because in my relationships and everything that I've been through, it just wouldn't even factor, because it's always been like a progression of getting to know a person to get to the point where you're defining and deciding if, okay, from what you've shown me and I've shown you, are we now deciding we're going to be together? So that question never made any sense to me. But now, talking to you guys, it's like, wait a minute. Okay. So it's still madness, but okay, I'm seeing where it's like in the beginning of, oh, but what kind of question is that though? Like,
You know what I like about the millennials is that they do bring up topics that are hard to discuss.
right.
Hmm.
And I really like that. Just like in regard to the work environment, now people are concerned about how much money you make. And I, even though I'm not a millennial, I've always done that. I've always put that in the forefront when I
Me too.
interview for a job, because I'm
Mhm.
not here for grins and giggles.
Right.
I'm here
Mhm.
for the money. Who's gonna pay me better and where I want to be, that's going to be the deciding factor. Now,
Mhm.
money is not the deciding factor all the time, because it could be like appears to be a cool environment until you get there and start working and you realize, yeah, I made the wrong decision. I need to get out of here.
Right.
But I've always, have, when they ask me that question, what do you want in salary? I throw out my number, because
Hmm.
if you can afford me, let me go and let me go to another interview. It's don't waste my time.
Right.
So I think too, in relationships, I work it the same way, but just a little more tactful, and again, I go and ask the guy, what is your end result? What is your
Right.
purpose? Wherever I found you, what is your purpose? If you're looking not to be in a relationship, that's cool. I will eliminate myself because I'm looking for a relationship. Now, I'm not saying that I want a relationship with you. I'm just looking for a man who's relationship minded, you know. And if you're not, and some men are not relationship minded. Some men just want to be bachelors, and that's okay.
Right.
But I'm removing myself from the situation.
Hmm.
So
I think I'm of the opinion that there's a difference between that kind of questioning and what do you bring to the table. Like, I feel like, yeah, I agree with you. There's certain things that you got to know. Like for me, I know, like when I was in the dating field, when I used to date, you definitely, I wanted to know, do you want to get married? Yes or no? Do you want children? Yes or no? These are just kind of like standard questions about you that have nothing to do with me. These are just general things about what you want, what kind of like trajectory in your life you're trying to go, and all that other good stuff. I think that's different from when somebody is asking you to justify why they should choose you, essentially, is the question.
Mhm.
Because that's saying, you tell me why I should pick you. What do you bring to the table? You know what I mean?
I
And
think the
and
only
I
place
I,
where
I
that's kind of
see those two
appropriate,
things as different. I'm sorry?
right? It's okay. I'm thinking the only place that something like that would be appropriate would be speed dating, where you
Yeah.
gotta cut to the chase. You're
Yes.
asking those kind of questions,
mhm,
but still the phrasing is different. I don't think anybody will
yeah.
spend their time saying, "What do I bring to the table?" It would still
Right.
be defined differently. Yeah,
Right.
And you know
yeah.
what? And as I think about it, maybe people are talking about it as far as finances. And something
Mm.
that we need to look at, in society, that women, traditionally, women make less than men.
Mhm.
The only place that I seen that does not hold true is in the military. Whether you're a
Hmm.
man or whether you're a woman, when you are a certain rank, say you are an E1, whether you're a man or whether you're a woman, your income is the same. Your base income is the same. And the reason why I say base income is because if you married, then the military do give you money because you have a dependent. But if you are both equally a single woman, a single man, you both are E1 and you're E1, you make the same amount of money. But it doesn't work that way in society, because I was in a position where, you know, I was the top dog, so to speak, and a guy comes in and he gets a raise, and I'm like, whoa, what happened to my raise? I'm the one who trained him. But you give him a raise and you opt not to give me a raise. And that's when I said, goodbye. You know, so I'm not gonna play that like game, because I'm valuable, you know. And just like when we speak about having value in a relationship, it's just not romantic relationships that I hold my value. I hold my value in any relationship, business relationship, friendships, romantic relationships. You
Right.
have to hold your value.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think that question gets thrown around a lot, but I'm just thinking like maybe maybe it would be in everybody's best interest maybe not to ask that question and just kind of like take the time to see what the person supposedly brings to this table. But I've also heard arguments where people say, well, this person's asking about a table when they live in their mom's basement, right? So you don't even you don't even have a table for me to bring something to, right? You know, and there I mean, this goes both ways though, and I will say this because and then when I thought about the fact that this goes both ways, it made me come to a place of saying, you know what, everybody has a right to want whatever they want. You can live in your mom's basement and say that you want a woman who's making 200,000 minimum. It's your right. It's delusional, but it's your right to want that. You know what I mean? And I then thought about it and I was like, I think what happens is a lot of times women get away with it a lot more than men, and I feel like what men get bitter, there's an element of jealousy there and envy, because I think a lot of men wish that they could have the life that women have, right? Because you know, a 20-year-old woman who still lives with her parents and is going to college, you know, can start dating a 40 whatever year old who's a millionaire, and basically, and as when it comes to finances, it's not balanced, but she can get away with it, and she can easily get that guy and she can get that lifestyle. It's a little bit more delusional when it's the other way around and the man has nothing trying to get a woman who's up there. When it's like that, then it's like all of a sudden he's a scrub and this and that and the next, and you know what I'm saying? So I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Do you think it's a double standard?
You know, it is a double standard, and I will be honest. I've had periods in my life where I was like, man, if I could be a man for 24 hours, what would I do?
Yeah.
I would be arrested. I would, you know, because when I relate to being a man, I relate to the D and how the D has power.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll be swinging my D around. I would be arrested. I would be a flasher. You know, it's like, you know, I wouldn't do well as a man. But it does bring power. When you are a male, it's like you automatically born with power.
But then do you think that because they get that power, when they don't get things their way, that's when they get angry and upset? And that's where I really think a lot of times when men ask this question to women, come on now, you know, there's something
I think
there
because
that
I think because there definitely is a double standard where men are expected in society to be successful, make something of themselves, being able to provide for themselves before they can provide for other people.
Right.
That expectation of being able to be like a real man, which means you're a provider, is there. Whereas women can get away with, you know, chilling on the couch forever and a day, and somebody will come along and will take care of you if that's the way you want to live your life. You find somebody that'll take care of you, but men don't have that luxury. So I think there is that bit of envy and jealousy where it's kind of like, man, if I could just really let my hair down and not have to worry about all this junk, I would definitely switch places with her in a second.
Right. But they do not say that they're envious and jealous, of course.
Mhm.
So the way it comes out to me, it comes off as the alpha males then and the podcast. And it's like, you guys are wrong and blah, blah, blah. I guarantee if the roles were reversed, they would take up the opportunity in a second. Guaranteed. But
Well,
that's why they feel so bitter about it.
well, these proclaimed alpha males don't believe what you see on TV. I keep trying to tell people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, as a matter of fact, one of because there's a white manosphere and a Negro manosphere. I don't understand it, but anyway, in the Caucasian manosphere, this guy was found out that he was talking the talk, but he wasn't walking the walk in real life. In real life, he was barking like a dog for his wife. Like literally, he was
Love to
he was
see it.
submissive to his wife. So he was one way on YouTube, and then he spoke an entirely different way when he was
Yes.
at home.
Yes. And part of that podcast was for him to bring in the money that she probably is cashing the check for.
Exactly. So that's why I said, don't believe everything you see on TV.
Yes.
Don't believe the hype.
Yes.
Right.
God, people say and do what they want to do. Like they say, fake it till you make it.
Right.
Because Kevin Samuels is one of those fake it till you make it. And a lot of people are hating on him because he was able to do it so well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, he lied about a lot of things in his life, in his private life. He don't practice what he preach. You know, he wants people to like get married in their early 20s. And I said, don't do it. Don't do it because you don't know yourself. People change, people grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've seen one video where you know, he says that he is college degreed, and in another video he gets confronted and then confesses that he's not a degreed professional.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you lie about that? If you lie about that, imagine what else can you lie about?
Exactly. You will say whatever it takes to get you to the top. And unfortunately, there's people who are going to take your word for gospel and they're going to ruin their whole lives, their whole entire lives.
And that is what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they, you know, and then of course the Kevin Samuels, you know, the cheerleaders, when you call him out on something, they want to say you're hating rather than saying, no, I've done investigative reporting and I looked into this and, you know, and I have proof that he lied about certain things. So he's the prime example of fake it till you make it. And so you can't hate the game.
I mean,
don't believe everything you see on TV.
Yep. Yeah.
Don't believe it.
I mean,
and it's like just like on the commercials when they have like the toy commercials. I don't know if anyone like really pays attention, but on there's like in little writing, it says, you know, toys do not actually talk. Toys do not move, or we've used multiple sets because a kid gets a toy and was like, well, wait a minute. It's supposed to be talking and walking.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have to make it talk and walk.
Right.
And you don't pay attention to how you said the small writing, the small detail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like the fine print.
Right, the fine print. Yeah. That's what it is, the fine print.
Right.
I mean, I definitely think at the end of it all, and I think that's the beauty of our podcast, and that what is different is that we definitely do not take, first of all, we're not experts. We're just experts at what we've experienced, because obviously we've gone through it from what we've experienced and what we've seen and what we've heard. But at the end of the day, like we're all trying to make it work. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has all the answers. But I like the fact that we don't take sides as far as like whether it's the men or the women. And we call everybody to the carpet when it's time. And we talk about things. And if anybody takes anything out of it, it's just good to have the conversations. You can take it, you can leave it, you can have a difference in opinion. It's beautiful. The point is just to have these conversations, because even talking to you guys, I have moments when, like I just said earlier, I will have moments when I'm like, I never even thought about it like that, because you only know what you know, right? Yeah. You think how you think because that's just what your experiences are based on. So I definitely think it's great that we have these conversations because it opens up your mind, makes you look at things different. And it's beautiful. Take what you need, leave what you don't want, but just,
Right.
have that sense of an open mind and just wanting to have better relationships for both men and women.
Right.
And for a lot of people who call into these YouTube shows, and it's okay to ask for, like, suggestions to
Mhm.
kind of make decisions, but the callers have to keep in mind that the person you're speaking to, that the YouTuber that you're speaking with only knows a little snippet of your life, of
Right.
what you told them in a
Mhm.
little bit of time. So there's no way that someone could possibly give you a bunch of anecdotes when they don't know the full story. And
Yes.
I've always told my daughter from when she was little, and I said, yes, you could come to me with anything, even when you mess up, but make sure you come to me with the whole story.
Right.
Because when you tell me a little part and I try to problem solve, I'm not problem solving your real problem. I'm only problem solving that fake problem that you made up.
Mhm.
So let me know what the real problem is so
Mhm.
we can put our heads together and figure out the real solution.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is beautiful to even have that kind of conversation with your daughter. Because a lot of parents don't have those conversations, but also I think it's because they're also not walking that walk either. You know what I mean? And you kind of just have to be honest with yourself. Like, going back to like what we're talking about today, what do I bring to the table? Only you can know what you bring to the table. I mean, it's definitely not a one size fits all. At the end of the day,
Mhm.
you know what you bring to the table. You can't lie to yourself. You can lie to the person that you're talking to, but you can never lie to yourself. And maybe it's not in your best interest to lie to whoever you're talking to because that just creates a shaky, I can't even call that a foundation, but whatever
Right.
that is, it's not a good start. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yep.
Because again, the person you present is not the real person. The real person will come out, and your flaws will be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we all have flaws. Since the
Right.
day we were born with flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Vanessa, any last words on what you bring to the table?
Oh man, that bringing to the table business. I would say last words are just the most important thing is to be true to yourself and to know yourself. Because I think a lot of times when people ask these off the wall questions is because they're not secure in who they are, to
Mhm.
know to just trust the process and letting themselves be known to somebody else.
And it's good to ask questions. Talk about
Yeah.
finances. Talk about sex. Talk about if you were born a man or a woman. These days, we have to ask these
Questions you gotta
questions.
ask these
We
days.
gotta ask these hard questions
Right.
because
Right.
it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Another day, another
Another
day.
conversation.
Another conversation.
Be sure to put
Another
your
leveled up
comments below.
conversation.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
say it again. Say it again.
Be sure to put your comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on our topic of the day. And of course, you can always email us at levelupconvo@gmail.com.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. Where's my finger? Right there, somewhere. We just passed it. All right, and we are out.